We are here.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 215. I am your host, Anthony Trapani, and I'm trying to get it off of this banner. Oh, wait, that's sorry. There we go. All right. I'm doing this one solo for the first time, guys, and I'm producing it as well. So it's going to be a little rocky, but I'll be doing my best. I am your host, Anthony Trapani, episode 215, Cali Death Podcast, and I'm here with Florian from Ingurgitating Oblivion. What's going on, Florian?
Hi there. All right.
We've been hanging out backstage for quite some time because of my mistake. I had booked this episode pre time change in the States, and so up until today, I thought we were starting at 11 a.m. my time. And so I was messaging Florian, not getting responses. I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And then all of a sudden Florian's like, wait, what? What's going on? Is everything good? And figured it out, dude. The flyer should have said 12 o'clock PST, and it said 11. So sorry for anybody who was waiting and then just decided to do something else on their Saturday. But either way, we got some people up. I actually got to see if anybody's up in the chat yet. Let's see.
Yeah, he's knocking on the door again.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We were having some other audio issues with our buddy Norbert over here. Let's see if it's cleared up.
Can you hear me now?
No.
It is not.
Why
it's the same. We can hear you, but you sound like you're a robot. You sound like the Matrix. Which is not the first time this has happened, but I've always said, or I haven't said, but Casey's always said maybe you need to just restart the computer. That might help it. But let's just keep it rolling. I'm sure we're gonna figure this out, but I'm gonna still do some. Oh, what's going on over here? Oh, we got somebody else popping in too. All right, let's get some audio on Celine.
Hi, Celine.
Oh, and she froze.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not sure everything working correctly.
Oh yeah,
I
We
think
can
I
hear
have
you
to...
good.
Wait.
Celine, are you using your mobile phone?
I'm using the smartphone. Actually, I have WhatsApp on the computer, but I didn't get it to work because I don't have enough memory in my computer now. So it's too late to sort out my computer. So yes, so I abandoned the idea of fixing anything. So now it's with a smartphone. I think.
Celine, would you mind maybe turning your phone sideways? That might make you fill up the your part of the video. Turn your phone sideways. Oh,
yeah. This way?
I guess it didn't work with that way. All right, Norbert, I'm sorry, buddy. We gotta. Well, I didn't mean to. I gotta remove you for a second, bro, because that was a little discombobulating. All right, guys, we are here on a Saturday, and I am joined by Celine and Florian of Ingurgitating Oblivion. And yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on. And I've been a fan of Ingurgitating for, since Voyage, really, the first one that came out. It was on Unmatched Brutality, wasn't it, Florian?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
so
a long time ago.
Yeah, dude. Well, that was actually my first introduction to the band. We talk about it constantly of digging through crates at CD stores and all that stuff, and came across your cover and saw the Unmatched Brutality logo on it, and I was like, let's take this home and see what it's all about. And I was really into it, dude. And to see you guys evolve into what you are now, it's just really cool, dude. So I'm glad that you guys are here. And we've been trying to get this one going for a while, and it finally is happening. So I'm totally stoked. Celine is now having issues too. All right, back to just me and you right now.
We're bound to have this conversation.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how smooth our pre-pod was, and then as soon as things started, it just fucking.
I don't know.
It's all good though, dude. It's all good. So let's while they're figuring their stuff out, let's go through some plugs real quick. We're always plugging stuff up top, and dude, here we go. He does it easy for me. All right. Battleforgecoffee.com. Our homies in Deeds of Flesh. They started a coffee company. I want to say they got to be in business for a couple of years now. We've been plugging it ever since they started. It's quality stuff. And it's death metal coffee, guys. I mean, and it's a sick name. Battleforged Coffee, of course, dude. Why wouldn't you want to drink that? Down in SoCal, we got generatorrehearsalstudios.com in Oceanside, California. Casey and Ben, they're over there, and you can jam out. If you're SoCal, you need a space. They accept all people. You want to get crazy, you got a gnarly death metal or grindcore band that nobody else wants to hear you playing in any other jam space, they'll accept you there, dude. So go there. I never plug it, but we do need to plug it since it's on the list. We do this on Twitch and we do it on YouTube. So if you want to see it live, those are the places to do it. All right. Is there anything else over here? Nope, there is not. Media. All right. So Florian, what about you guys? Where do you want people? You got a central hub that you want people to go to?
To watch this, or what do you mean?
No, just for anything in Ingurgitating Oblivion. Like if you're telling somebody to come find us, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, good question. You caught me off guard there.
You got a website?
Right, let me think. So hi there, everyone, first of all, and maybe Instagram, probably, maybe YouTube a little bit. We still have a website. I still love websites, so that's
whatever happened to that, dude?
Right, yeah, and Bandcamp. I think Bandcamp is
support at Bandcamp for sure, dude.
Yeah,
Bandcamp Fridays. All right, I think Celine looks like she's ready to go again. She's full on. All right.
Yes, I made it with the computer now.
Perfect.
Sounds perfect.
So much better. So much better.
Yeah. Just have to. Vous dormez maintenant? Because I'm alone with the children, so I cannot ensure that they will keep quiet. But it's okay.
That's all. That's no problem.
They can join. No problem.
Yeah, they could totally join. I mean, all my kids are out right now, but we might see my dog later on too.
What's his name?
Kenobi.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're into Star Wars then.
We are. We're definitely a Disney family. My kids were definitely into Star Wars. They got into it more than me. I was, into the originals. And then once things started, I don't know if anybody, we're starting a Star Wars conversation right away, but The Phantom Menace was something that everybody told me sucked, so I never really watched it. I just thought that the dude with the double lightsaber was sick, Darth Maul. Yeah, he looked sick, but then nobody told me. They said don't even bother with it if you like the original. So I was like, all right, well, that's where I kind of stopped with Star Wars for a bit. But then the kids started getting back into it, and then seeing the newer stuff, and the Mandalorian is a badass show, and it's like,
yes, we're into the Mandalorian too right now.
Yeah,
yes. The children are,
But yeah, Kenobi is he's a cool little dude, so we might see him later on. He's taking a nap right now, but yeah. So we already got you guys your plugs out of the way. So let's we usually on the show we go back to the beginning of things, but since it's going to be a band episode and might be a little bit shorter of one, we should probably just mainly get a little obviously, Florian, you're the oldest member, the longest member of the band currently.
Yeah.
So, and founding member. So we should, get into your past a little bit too, because,
Yeah.
A band like Ingurgitating Oblivion, what it's evolved into.
Yeah.
I was
Sorry,
very, no
the
problem.
But Norbert just said he's the second guy in Ingurgitating.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see.
Trying to get in. There he is.
All right, you're back in, Norbert. Let's hopefully we hear human vocal cords.
Test.
Something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Got it.
Hooray.
Perfect. Hi, Celine.
Take a deep breath. It's all right.
Yeah, you're in now, dude.
Yeah.
That's totally fine, dude. That adds to the comedy of the show. Really, there's going to be people, listeners of this show that knew I was going to be doing this on my own for the first time today are definitely giggling at me right now, dude. But that's fine. We actually do have a couple in the chat. We got the Morbid Florist. What up? And Codex Necro. It's going down. Finally getting, that's I was also thinking about that too, is doing a show at this time. It gives a whole opportunity to a different part of the world to be able to watch it live without, waking up early in the morning and all this kind of stuff. So it's cool that, there's an opportunity for some people in a different time zone to catch it live. Yeah. And I if these start to work out, maybe we'll see more of these on the weekends if I decide to keep going with them,
You mean you will catch the videos?
Catch the videos? What do you mean?
You mean how we look like right now? Other people will see it.
Oh yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. Celine, that makes me think of a really funny story because Celine was featured on the last Ingurgitating Oblivion album as well, Vision Wallers and Symphonies of Light from 2017. And I remember when Norbert and I went to Celine's place, and she basically wanted to record the piano at her apartment in Berlin. And then I sort of confronted Selena. I didn't let her know in advance at all. So it was shit communication on my part. Hey, Celine, we don't just want to record the piano today. We want to have a photo session, right? And she said, oh, master Florian, why didn't you tell me that? And she went in the bathroom. And it's exactly the same situation now.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I thought it would be audio, I didn't think that.
No.
Well, maybe he does that on purpose, Celine. Maybe he doesn't. He leaves those types of information out of the thing to make sure that you'll be there.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't have shown up tonight if you found out it was live.
Later, Florian. Yes.
Yeah. Follow-up conversation. Norbert, I'm so glad that we got you on with your audio working, and so nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Most definitely. All right, so now that everybody's here and in order, let's get an abridged version of Florian's upbringing. A little bit. Where were you born?
I was born in the northwestern part of Germany. It's a region that is not too far away from the Dutch border. So we crossed the border back in the days to smoke loads and loads of weed. And I think that explains my story because of the weed consumption, it all went crazy. Yes. So it's by the North Sea, basically.
That'll break open. That'll connect some synapses and break open some barriers for you. So okay, but let's talk about, because the first question I usually ask if I'm just having a conversation with one musician is your earliest memory you could think about where something like music, art, film, video games, anything that sparked that first creative drive for you to, pursue creating,
Yeah, like that question. Celine, do you want to go first?
Just think of
first
like maybe
memory-
even if it's a song that your parents used to play while you're playing with your toys in the living room, or something that like made you, it caught your attention, made your ears perk up.
Yeah.
Or
You mean
if you're watching,
you mean since my birth, from my birth? Now,
yeah, the
any
earliest
piece
memory.
of music I would have.
Or film, or you saw a cartoon, you saw a painting on the wall somewhere that just like,
I remember it. I remember it. I remember my dad. So I grew up in this northwestern, very rural area, really out in the middle of nowhere. And my father was always into music, so he had like a huge record vinyl collection. I think he was always bragging with it. Bach, Shostakovich, Prokofiev, loads of blues, Keith Jarrett, Chris Jarrett, so piano music, stuff like that. And I remember those were the days where you'd still listen to vinyl, but also cassettes, right, like tapes. And I had this cassette recorder in my children's room, if that's a term. And I was just going through a box where there were these obscure tapes, and I think they must have been from the 70s. So really, really fucking old, or 80s or 70s probably. And I remember it was Jimi Hendrix.
Nice.
Jimi Hendrix, and the cassette quality was shit, but I do remember, and that's really like a sacred memory almost, because I remember going through different tapes and listening to this and listening to that, and I couldn't, wrap my head around it. It didn't really touch me. But then, I don't know, after hours and hours and hours of me going through these tapes, I listened to Jimi Hendrix, and this feeling when all of a sudden it all clicks. And I went like, wow,
that's what I'm looking. That's exactly what I'm looking for an answer.
A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know which one came first for me, if it was Space Odyssey or A Clockwork Orange, but I mean, Kubrick is legendary for me. I mean, right now, side note, I'm representing a bunch of different directors right now. I got my 2 Lynch box sets behind me. I got Lynch over here, and Twin Peaks over here, and then I'm wearing an Alejandro Jodorowsky Holy Mountain shirt right now.
Yeah. Good choice. It's a shame you didn't do Dune, right?
What a great documentary about it, though.
Yeah.
We actually got another musician coming in. We got Daniel.
Hello, my dear
his audio is
friends.
good. Hey, it sounds good. Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
We were just, I don't know if you missed, we were having some issues, but now Norbert's with us as well. So everybody made it on, except for maybe we'll see some delay in a little bit, right? You said maybe?
Yeah,
all right.
He's going to.
Hey, see, Norbert's there, and all of a sudden the sound is good. That's his effect on things.
Okay.
Is it? Wait until you play back the episode, Daniel.
Yeah.
All right, so you were talking Jimi Hendrix, Florian, and just like getting broken open by it.
Aha. Yeah. Good.
So then what? So did that? You're like, okay, what's this? Guitar, this rock and roll guitar shit, and you follow those rabbit holes and see what you find.
It's just my earliest memory, right? It's just an emotion that is still very vivid, and I remember that as this toddler almost, I was just sitting there in awe. And I don't know whether, I thought, I want to do such kind of music, or, something approximating that sort of music in the future. I don't know. But I do remember that it was very moving and very impressive. And I mean, after that, after, I don't know, when you were aged 11 or 12, you listened to some Iron Maiden and stuff like that. But but that's definitely my earliest memory. Yeah. But I'd be curious about Celine and Daniel and Norbert as well.
Yeah, I think my earliest are Thomas Güttler playing on vinyl playing Bach with his trumpet, and Leipziger Orchester Weihnachtsoratorium from Johann Sebastian Bach, and the first really memorable were the White Album by the Beatles, and Weather Report. This were vinyl LPs my father had, and which probably set my music taste for more progressive things in life and music in later life. Otherwise, the first things I can remember are those cheesy 80s stock Aiken Waterman production in the radio, which came from the West German radio. I was born in East Berlin, and so, but we all heard West German radio. Yeah, so I heard a lot of BFBS, that were the British military radio station. Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty my first. I
Right
can
on.
think of my first memories.
I'll just throw mine in there real quick. It was doo-wop. It was like the 50s and 40s, even some 30s jazz too. My nana would play that really, really early, like New Orleans style jazz, big band stuff. That, Frank Sinatra, that was in there very early. But definitely, I always cite like Motown, that type of stuff. Really,
Fats Domino. We had a big LP from Fats Domino. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I remember.
What about Celine and Daniel? Who wants to go next? What's Celine? You've had some. We put you up front, and then you were like, "I'm going to sit back." So you've had plenty of time to think. What do you think?
Actually, to be honest, I don't remember what the first piece of music really influenced me. But my parents were listening to really too much music all the time. The thing is, my father is a great Deep Purple fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember. So I was very young. So he was. So he was listening to those vinyls. Those LPs, and then he had this made in Japan. And he was listening to Child in Time. Like the highest volume you can imagine. In the house. So with this very high voice of the singer. So I remember this as one of the first things I remember, because I think every Sunday he put it, for lunch. Then we had the right to listen to Deep Purple. So I think it was a very, a very, very important part of what influenced me originally. He had a Hammond organ also in the living room. So, he was trying to play it on the Hammond organ too. So this was like a mix of many things. And they were also listening to classical music and to jazz too. So I remember really many, many things. So I think Miles Davis also, and Stan Getz, for jazz, were really. So maybe Stan Getz this this recording Serenity, called Serenity. Maybe I listened to it. Maybe it's a recording I listened maybe thousands of times in my life since I'm a child. So maybe it would be a very influencing recording for me. So I would say classical music is impossible to say. I have listened also to the second piano concerto of Rachmaninoff, like also thousands of times. So there was Beethoven for rock, jazz, and classical music, the three most important recordings for me.
Right on. As you were speaking, a guest who's been on this show a couple of times. He's the percussionist of your new record, Mr. Lille. What up, dude?
Hello, what's going on?
Hey, I'm hearing you know that classic question that I ask everybody. I'm hearing everybody's early sparks of creativity right now, and we're glad to have you join, brother. Thank you, dude.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Hello.
Totally. So since one, we've already heard Lille's origins on this show, on his episodes too. Daniel, since you popped in before Lille, let's hear you.
Yeah. So so the first music I have probably been listening to, and that I can't remember, that I can't really remember listening to, is I think Syrian folk music, since my father would listen to this. I'm pretty sure that I had been listening to that before even remembering or being able to remember it afterwards, because this music always touches me very deeply. It has an extreme effect on me. So there must have been something. So I'm originally from Syria, and my father too, and so this music was around definitely. And right, so that's one. And the first thing I really can remember listening to and singing it was the Drei Groschen Oper by Weil, Kurt Weil, with lyrics from Bertolt Brecht.
Yeah.
It's a pretty German thing, but actually the original, there's an original, so this was written in the 1920s, and there's an original opera, opera called The Beggar's Opera, which is the, how do you say Vorlage? It's he used that piece in order to make the Drei Groschen Oper later.
And was it
So The Beggar's Opera, that's in English, and it's it was written in the Baroque time, so 17 something, sorry. So Drei Groschen Oper was, I must have listened to it a lot, and I sang it. I sang some of the songs, and I would sing them in kindergarten also. I was something like 4 or 5 at the time, and the lyrics are quite special for a child of that age. So there's, for example, the song of Pirate Jenny, and Pirate Jenny works actually as a housekeeper in a hotel, in a cheap hotel, of course, and she earns next to nothing, and she dreams of a pirate ship landing in town, and her being the queen of the pirates, and the pirates coming into town and making everybody prisoner and leading them in front of her, and she gets to decide who gets killed and who gets to live. And of course, her decision is that everybody has to die. And
wait, I'm sorry. What song is this?
Seeräuber Jenny. It's called Seeräuber Jenny.
So
Pirate Jenny.
It like a sea shanty or something?
Oh,
okay.
You have to check it out.
All right, I definitely want to check. Well, I'm a big pirate fan. I love pirate imagery and lore and stuff like that. So I'm like,
it's a piece from Drei Groschen Oper by Kurt Weil. You have to check this out. Really, it's an amazing piece. The whole thing, the whole opera is amazing. It's in German though, but I'm sure there are translations around. And this is one of the songs in this opera. And this is kind of the story. So she dreams of that, and in the end she says, yeah, of course, everybody has to die. And then I think one of the lines that influenced me most as a toddler of 4 or 5 years is that she says, and then when the head falls, I will say, oops. And I used to repeat this over and over again in kindergarten, and it was a Catholic kindergarten. And how do you say, the people working there would go to would call in my parents and tell them, look, what's this?
Yeah,
It's been up to.
Talking about decapitating people at 5.
Yeah, and then okay, it was art. Actually, it was art. Then it was fine. So that's that I do remember this, and that was probably the first influence I had.
I mean, dude, you could have been like, it was a Cannibal Corpse song, and it would be the same thing. You know, it's like the content of the song is the same. You know.
Yeah, maybe the psychological.
Yeah, it's actually there's more layers to it. I shouldn't
that
have
is
said
a bit
Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal's just
deeper
like
than
straight
in any
slasher
Cannibal
shit.
Corpse song. But yes, and there are less. Yeah, okay. But it's a great song.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, right on. How's your night going, Lele? What you hanging out?
Yeah, I'm hanging out with some friends, and we had to take a train that I thought takes way shorter than it does, and then because some shit with the Berlin subway is going on again, and but still cool to be here.
I mean, to be honest, dude, it all worked out because of my mistake. I mentioned it early in the show when it was just me and Florian, but I've messed up because the time changed. So we put the flyer out with 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it really was supposed to start at 12 my time.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're already even you being late on the train made it work out fine for you too. So it's all good.
Could you have Celine in again? I think she's in
she is. Oh, sorry.
Backstage.
I apologize. I'm trying to produce and do it all.
Oh.
But okay, so we're all back. So now that we've gotten through all that, and since we got all you guys here, I know we don't need to necessarily stick with any timeline. I think that we can just really get into like the new album since you guys are here, you know, and we could talk about other stuff before that too. But we already had one question just wanting to know, let me show that one right here. Question: how much of the new album is improvised, or at least I would add improvised during conception, because obviously things can be improvised and then become, you know, solid after.
I think I'll pass this one on to Celine because she's the master of improvisation, I guess. Hopefully I didn't say anything wrong.
And during that explanation, I'll be right back. I just got to run away real quick.
So I can only say that my part is fully improvised. I have no idea what you did, guys. I think everything was written, but I'm not sure. Everything I play is fully improvised.
Yeah.
It was quite a bit stress, a big stress for Florian. Right? Because he kept calling me the weeks before the recording. Hey, are you sure you know what you're doing? Can you send me like a small part of what you're gonna do? Because you know I have to know. And I said no, trust me, it will be okay. So I will improvise something. He was really very stressed about it. So can you confirm, Florian? It was.
I think it's interesting, right? That's what I love about our constellation here as well, because Celine, maybe you can talk a little bit about your background as well and what you do as an artist, because if I may, you know, put that in my humble words, is that you are an improvisational jazz piano player, and probably you can elaborate a little more. When it comes to my part in the band, I mean, I'm the guitarist and vocalist, and do most of the riffs and you know, main ideas, etc. That's pretty composed, as in pretty, you know, well defined at the beginning. Also with the second voice, I do have to say that I'm pretty intuitive and spontaneous when it comes to, I mean, nothing in comparison with Lilith, for instance, who's a real composer. When it comes to death metal, I'm not, but everything is pretty defined guitar wise when I think about Ingurgitating Oblivion. However, I think I'm pretty intuitive and spontaneous when it comes to writing the second voice in particular. And is it improvised? Probably not. Is it done pretty intuitively? Probably yes.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, for me, it's always starts with improvisation, and then because you can't just improvise your way through these songs because it's very composed and very challenging with all the time changes and everything. So first I fuck around and see what fits, but I mean I did that every day, and I don't know when did I learn this album, in 2020.
Yeah.
I think I worked on it for a year almost. I played it every day. So yeah, you might be improvising at first, but then things in Germany we say crystallize out of it's something's just happening, and then you already know where your hands are going, and then before you know it, it's actually composition. So that's how it happens with me most of the times anyways. Like first I don't know if I compose too, like it is improvisation first, and then you go like, oh wait, these 4 notes fit really well, what can I do with them? And then the same with the drums, it's the same, and then you start following that path. And to me, yes, it's improvisation is involved, but it's also composition.
Yeah, it was just about the same thing for me actually. The things I played on the album, I didn't sit down with a pen and paper and wrote them down, but I would play over and over again with the spots I was supposed to play in, and like while playing things I would actually record in the end crystallized themselves out of, like we say in German. No, came out or would stick. And then in the end, because of a problem in the process, I had to write them down actually, because I made a pre-recording of everything, and then I had to re-record the stuff. So I was actually kind of forced, because of how we conceived this, I was actually forced to write the stuff down in order to be able to reproduce it later when I was doing the re-recording. So yeah, but this is, I would say it's a hybrid. It's a composition improvisation hybrid.
Yeah.
Right. That's beautiful, man. I mean, I think that just the idea of improvisation, pulling something out of the thin air type deal, or channeling something from a different realm, however you want to take it, get it. You're a satellite and you're receiving a signal type deal, and it comes through your hands and out onto your instrument, and something that you can connect to coming out of something like that is just beautiful, dude. It really is. It's manifesting. It's alchemy almost, it's just like a mixture of perfect mixture of things. The right head space, skill set, and then boom, tapping into the muse and actually getting, some information out of it.
You're lucky you're based in the West Coast of the United States, because if you were based in the East Coast, there'd be some bit witch burning now. Talking about your vessel and the channel, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anthony is very esoteric mindset. I like it.
Yeah, I do have that way. I like Florian was saying, massive amounts of cannabis, dude.
Oh yeah.
Throughout my life. And no, I just like to think weird. I like to think different. I think it's even if it's not true, the idea of catching an idea, I got Lynch behind me, catching an idea out of thin air, you know,
Oh, yeah.
that just the idea of it is way more interesting than just saying it came from my brain, you know. It's already, it already opens up way bigger than me once I say that, because then that means there's a flowing river of ideas around me all the time, and whether or not I can tap into it, you know, that's on me. And so it's, yeah, I always like to think that, but you know, somebody who has an ego, might be a little pretentious, might take that statement as me saying they had nothing to do with their art, and that's not true either. It's literally, it's just like we're swimming in information, and you tap into it, and then you use it to hopefully make something unique enough for you to represent yourself as an artist outside of yourself, you know. That's it. And the drive to keep doing
sounds
that.
good. Definitely sounds good. It sounds good.
Yeah, and that's why all y'all are but that's why we keep chasing it. We keep making things and seeing what's coming out of me now, you know. And in a band like Ingurgitating Oblivion, or of course a band like Defeated Sanity, it's just like, dude, you guys do what you want to do when you do it, and whatever it is, when it comes out, I know it's because you got it to the point where you were happy enough to release it into the wild, you know. However long that takes is however long it takes. I mean, you know, I remember hearing the conversation about this album a long time ago, you know, when it started popping up, and Lille becoming a part of it and stuff, the conversation. But I'm a patient waiter, you know. If I'd rather you give me something that you're truly, you know, at the point enough satisfied with it, versus trying to hurry stuff out to me and then it not be what, you know. How many times have we all put something out and then you listen to it and you immediately are like, oh, I could have done that better here, you know, I could have said this way there, you know. And that's, so if you can sit back, and obviously there's the law of diminishing returns in certain aspects of that too, but yeah, I'm just like, work on it as long as you are ready for it, and then ready for it to be not yours anymore. That's it too. Once you make something, it's not you, and you put it out, it's not yours anymore. Now everybody else, it's mine, and they all have their critiques about it too. But okay, so you as players all on the screen right now, how long have you been working together? Like, was it just this album, or I know you said Celine was on the previous album too in 2017. Did Norbert or Daniel work with you guys before that too?
Daniel joined with the last album. So basically,
okay.
I don't know, 2-3 years ago, I approached him, and if I recall correctly, Lily and Daniel did something together, like a project. Maybe you can.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I was approached by Daniel, and I'm always happy to get a chance to collaborate with, you know, do something like classical, because or let's say 21st century music, you know. Because I feel we are that, but it's not in that realm really. But you know, people like Daniel see it and hear it, and he asked me to collaborate on, I think first we were talking about just doing something together, even like trying to do a metal version of I don't know, or I don't know what it was, do a kind of classical version of metal stuff, or it was more like diffuse in the beginning, but then he came up with this Zimmermann composition that he showed me his versions of that, which is, I think it was written just for flute, right? And then we basically made grindcore influence, like noise, harsh noise, grindcore, death metal kind of versions of these compositions, and it was a lot of fun.
Have I ever heard any of this? Like, where can I find this?
Can I post a link?
Yeah, throw it in.
Let's
you
go.
can
How
throw
do I
it in
do
the
that?
comments. So on your right side,
we got
there's
a private chat. Chat and
comments.
yeah.
Yeah,
No.
there's the private chat. You could send that,
So
and then
there
I'll
are
throw it in the
two,
main comments.
There are two parts. Can I say a bit more about that?
Yeah.
But let's maybe revert back to the original question in the first place, because that was a reference in the first place. And then you elaborate a little more, because I think the original question was how long we've been working together.
Oh yeah, as a group.
The action was, I think Daniel and Lily were working on this project. I heard about it. I think I listened to it, and Lily would share a couple of thoughts about it, and I found that fascinating. Lily and I, and Norbert and I have been friends for, I don't know, guys, 12 years, 13 years, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a massive fan of Defeated Sanity, obviously. And Lily and I were basically neighbors. You know, he was just living down the block. So we'd run into one another every once in a while, go to concerts, hang out, talk, you know, death metal shit, stuff like that. And at some point, I parted ways, and I think that was back in 2013. It's a long time ago, with the then band members. We did Continuum of Absence, which is the album before Vision Waters and Symphonies of Light. First album on Willowtip Records. Defeated were, recording artists of Willowtip as well. So that's kind of the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Norbert and I have known each other for 14, 15 years, and I basically asked him to help production-wise with Continuum of Absence. I think he contributed a solo as well. And then when I parted ways with the old band members, because of personal reasons, Norbert and I would team up to basically continue with Ingurgitating Oblivion, right? And that's 14 years ago, something like that. And then I got to know Celine quite some years ago as well, and her husband. And yeah, we're just very close friends, and I always loved her music. And I mean, it's not radically different from what we do, but I could really relate to it from an emotional point of view, because it's very difficult to anticipate. It's an approach also which is alien to me, but in a good way. And Celine, what I always loved about working with Celine is also that she's not preconceived or prejudiced when it comes to death metal, but rather, I think it's fair to say that we care about music, and the genre doesn't matter. It really is irrelevant. I could never relate to this metal blah blah blah, you know, I don't like this and I have to differentiate this and that, and have you listened to this and that super specific album? What you haven't, then you're a wimp, you know, this kind of nonsense. Me personally, it was always about essential things, friendship, creating something together which is beautiful and inspiring, and that's something that connects Celine and I.
Totally.
Music and nothing else. So that's basically like the big picture.
Yeah.
For all of us here. Yeah.
And what I also noticed, just talking about the new album, is how the album is sectioned off, and it's sectioned off into each piece is multiple parts, and you can get a feel of you're actually on this journey, you know, and there's chaos and there's beauty, and then, you know, there's very intricate aspects of it as well. But I just think that, like, I love the how it feels like certain emotions or feelings are compartmentalized on the album.
Yeah,
you know, I'm supposed to feel, I understand that I'm supposed to feel a certain way in this part of the album for this many parts, and then it changes, and then it takes me in a new direction. And I love that you can get that just by listening to it, not even if somebody was just first exposed to it. I think that you could, with obviously, if you need this to be a seasoned listener of technical and avant-garde metal in order to, you know. Oh, what's up, dude?
Hello.
Come here, buddy.
That's lovely.
It's Kenobi.
Hello.
See what you do,
Oh,
bud.
nice.
What you doing, buddy? Yeah, he's out. He's awake now. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Okay, not too many kisses.
That's love.
Yeah, I came over here for the dogs too. I'm visiting dogs too.
Yeah, dude. What's your dog's name?
Thule.
It's not mine. It's of my friend. It's called
Thule
Ziggy.
is- Yeah.
Oh. Hey, everybody's introducing their dogs. It's okay if we hear a couple of barks.
But
My wife's like, "Oh my god, sorry."
I have 7 dogs here.
7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was just
Dang.
one.
Are
think
you guys
that
kind of like a
they
foster
smell?
home?
Hmm?
Is it like a foster home situation, or you just love having a bunch of dogs?
Yeah, the second one.
All right.
Second one.
Hey,
That's
I'm-
all my dogs and from my wife. We have
Mhm.
too many dogs. We love dogs. It's like
They're
it's
rad,
like
dude.
collecting cars.
Yeah.
It is a foster home.
Right on. All right, yeah, but back on. So I want to get to just like, if we can talk about just getting to the point of Ingurgitating Oblivion being this very, ambitious, giant conceptual thing. It's always been conceptual. I understand that from the beginning, but I told you that I was a fan. My first introduction was Voyage, so it's just like to watch the Lily knows what's up, and
Love that one.
watching it expand and unfold and evolve over the years has just been really interesting. So was avant-garde music as big of an influence to you in the beginning of the band's career? Florian?
I think basically each and every one of us listens to some sort of avant-garde, or it doesn't necessarily have to be music. It can be plays as well. It can be literature as well. For instance, Ulysses, right? James Joyce and stuff like that. I mean, in a way, I call that avant-garde as well.
Sorry, I just want to add.
Yeah.
What's the last sentence of that book? How many words is it? It's something ridiculous. It's just an ongoing one sentence for like 4,000 or 5,000 words or some shit.
I don't know the number of words, but it's basically one sentence, right? Yeah. So it can be anything. I think it's in a way, a point of view and a mindset, even though that sounds a little cliche, I guess. But I remember, when I started the band, it was called Of Trees and Orchids in the 1990s. And I can't really explain why, but the only explanation I have is that I could always rather relate to music that felt like a journey, like walking through
A voyage.
Yeah, like a voyage. Yeah, that's very true, and nothing too predictable. And yeah, I saw that coming, and then that's exactly what happens motif wise. I listened to Opeth quite a lot back in the days, and that's something, at least the Morning Rise and Orchid. These are records I can relate to. When it's literature, you talked about David Lynch, The Straight Story. I mean, that's not the odd one out when it comes to his filmography, but
a beautiful film, beautiful story.
So beautiful. And I'm bringing this up not just to do some name dropping here, but the movie is so beautiful because it's a journey, right? It's a very, very simple, beautiful, dignified kind of narration, right? And that's something, as an emotion, if that's the right word, I can relate to. And I think I'm simply translating this into musical form, and that's why we sound the way we sound. That's a long-winded way of answering your question.
I love so much that you just mentioned the straight story being an influence on Ingurgitating Oblivion, dude. That's just but at the same time, as a director like Lynch, and then doing a project like that outside of everything else in his career, that's avant-garde in itself for me.
Yeah,
you know, it for him to take the chance to now hone it all into. Am I hearing who's whispering? I'm hearing this whispering in the background. Is somebody whispering? Or am I hearing it on my end?
And my son is.
Yeah, somebody is whispering. Yeah.
Come say hi. Hey, dude.
Hi.
He's like, can I get a snack, please?
Has to go to bed again. Go back to bed.
Go back to bed.
Mommy's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? Kind of, you did Of Trees and Orchids first, which was super out there.
Yeah.
And then with the way you got kind of really put on the map, like internationally, was with the more straightforward album, which is Voyage.
Yeah.
And on Unmatched Brutality and stuff. It's kind of funny to think about that, but that's when I really was like, because I knew some of the Trees and Orchids stuff, and I was like, that's cool, but then a few things were like, I don't know about this one. And then when I heard the Voyage album, I was like, wow, they really stepped up the game. And I'm like, but they left out the weird stuff. And it reminded me of us too, because we have a weird beginning kind of thing too, with all the free jazz tracks and stuff. And then we also went more straightforward. So like, how did you feel about that? Kind of like, if I can ask that question. Go for it,
dude. Great question. And I think to me, it all makes perfect sense, because the Of Trees and Orchids recipe is very, very present in Ontology of Naught and Vision Waters and Symphonies. Right. I mean, there is a lot of recitation. I did Wolfgang Borchardt's, Antiquitäten. That was, basically a poem by Wolfgang Borchardt, who is an author, Generation X, right? Committed suicide, I guess, like Franz Kafka. So I think they were close friends. So we had these elements and the Of Trees and Orchids stuff. It sounded, I mean, Lilla, we were 18 years old, 17 years old, so it was not super mature. But then it got straightened up, simply, very trivial reason, because of lineup changes and different tastes in the music, and we listened to a lot of Hate Eternal back in the days, right? This super aggressive and speedy stuff, and that's kind of instilled in the music. I was never super happy with it going, in this rather traditional direction, even though we had like very extended songs. But then with Vision Waters and Symphonies of Light, in particular, when Lily joined the band and Celine joined the band, I had the feeling of marrying both universes. This crazy, strange, spiritual, whatever, poetry nonsense on the one hand, with these extensive songs, and on the other hand, the super brutal stuff. And that's the perfect combination now, for me at least.
Definitely is, dude. I mean, I had a respin of it on the way up here last night, dude, and there's just so much in it for me individually because of my I listen to so many different styles of music, and I like to really go out to the fringes of things and where you know, a lot of people would have too much tension with this project. I think that there's definitely plenty of release in it as well. And I actually can withstand a lot more tension than most because I've gone down the John Zorn rabbit hole, and you know, I've found all that really, 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 really abrasive type improvisational stuff, and I understand it. So then you get an album like this one where it's like all of that stuff that I love, but it's shiny and it's like molded perfectly to my tastes, kind of, you know. And the way that the album ends too, it's like, oh, there's all the tech death, you know, like those the what is it, the earth's,
the barren earth oozes blood.
Yeah, those parts, dude. It's just like, all right, and then we're gonna show you guys that not only can we play tech death, but we can play it very well. You know?
Yeah, there's some great parts. Really, like, I was really happy with the guitar ideas, and then I was also very happy with the drums I came up with and everything. You know?
Yeah, dude. There's still, again, dude. That's what I want. Thanks for saying that, because I just wanted to say, like, I've listened to you throughout your career, and there's still so much on this album that just shows me how much capability you have as a musician, dude. It's just, I think with all the ideas that I've heard come out of your limbs over the years, there's still stuff that you're capable of doing that's making me like, oh, there's a new fresh little Lille lick right there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of with Ingurgitating. It was like, we've talked about this recently, Florian, where there's also like some BPMs that I just can't play on it that well. You know, some tempo that I'm not very good at. So I discovered good things, as you said, like where I was like, oh wow, I've never played this stuff in Defeated before, and it's like, wow, awesome. So this exists. But there's also the quote unquote bad stuff where I'm like, I really don't know how to play on this tempo at all. So yeah, it's interesting like that. So I think with the next one, we're gonna talk a little bit more about BPM. And yeah.
I want to add one thing.
Go for it.
Gonna give some appreciation to Daniel here. I think the probably record is the wrong word, but the flute work is just absolutely mind-boggling, at least from my point of view. And because we talked about the final track, The Barren Earth, Daniel, you may have realized that, opens up the entire album, and he concludes it as well. And I think the conclusion, maybe Daniel, you can talk about it. It's a specific kind of flute, but I think it's a specific kind of mode and style as well. He emulates and he embraces at the very end of the album.
What I was going to say, I just want to add that he with all the abrasive, you know, stuff that's happening at the very end of the album, he like takes you and just like places you down nicely after. You're like, you didn't crash and burn from all the crazy chaotic shit that was happening. He like takes you and just like, all right, now we're gonna breathe out of this one.
Yeah,
Daniel,
definitely.
What's that mode? We talked about that briefly. Is it Japanese or is it something completely different?
No, you remember well. So if I remember correctly, I play this on an alto flute. So it's always the flute. It's never a recorder, but but it's an alto flute. And what I like the style I quote in that ending is the style of shakuhachi playing. Shakuhachi is a classical Japanese instrument. It's also a flute, and they play it with a lot of air and with these explosive beginnings of notes. You get that a lot, and going in to sound into a pure sound from air and going out of pure sound from air, mixing sound with air. So all this stuff is very particular to this flute playing, to this shakuhachi playing.
I noticed that, and it was. I could hear you
so
breathing.
I quote that in the end of the song. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very.
The breathing aspects of that. Yeah, I now that you're putting that thing together, I was like, I noticed that, and I was noticing the breathing was actually being used as also a part of the music, you know. And I liked when at first you think, oh, this is just something they, you know, artistically just left in, but no, it started to become like, no, this is very purposeful. What I'm hearing right now, it's supposed to be a part of everything.
Yeah,
It's
well,
captured well too.
in that very end of that song, I'm using that, and that's kind of the only spot I'm, you know, since I mostly play contemporary music on my flute, so I'm a classical flautist, and the music I play most is contemporary music. So whatever you might call it, experimental music or contemporary or modern music or that kind of stuff. And when you're into this kind of music, you get to play a lot of extended techniques. That's what they call it. So not just the plain sound and the sound you would expect from a flute, but you open up and get to play very different kinds of sounds, like harsh sounds with a lot of air, percussive stuff, and so on. So this is kind of my sound repertoire. It's there. It's just what I do for a living, what I do every day.
Yeah.
And when and I was really happy about that, about the music Florian and Lille and Norbert make, because it gave me the space, or it gave me the room for including these kinds of sounds, because it's just it matches. If it had been any like a down-to-earth classic death metal or black metal album, this kind of sound wouldn't have fit. But there, yes, and this is why I would be happy to include that.
Yeah, not with this band. Don't worry about that.
No.
Real quick,
maybe
see, if it had been a Grave CD, I probably would have left out that stuff.
How about a Master CD?
Yeah.
Master, yeah.
I already forget the name of the project, but Gavin Brooks wants to know what was the name of that grindcore?
Zimmermann.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Is it okay
I know you
if
gave me the links, dude, and I'm so bad with computers.
I sent you the links in that.
I know. So can you resend the link if you don't mind? So on your right side, where on the top where it says comments, that's comments to everybody. You guys can comment with these people in the chat right now. Throw it in those comments, because I don't even know how to use my mouse other than clicking it. I'm on a Mac, and I grew up on PCs, and now I'm like trying to like highlight something, and I can't fucking do it. I don't know why.
By the way, if I may, Daniel left the room, so probably you have to let him in again at some point.
Oh shit.
Yes, and I have to leave the room because I think we gotta go back sometime soon.
No, it's a problem, dude. Thank you so much for coming to hang out.
It was nice to hang out.
Yeah, dude, and I'm sure our listeners will be happy to have seen you for a little bit, and yeah, dude, we'll talk soon, Lille.
Yeah,
So
happy to see everybody.
Love you,
Have a good evening, guys.
Yeah.
Talk soon.
So
so if you in those comments,
I'm just about to post that.
All right, cool.
YouTube. I'm trying to log into that. I can't log in. Can somebody else post this? It's in the chat. I kind of
it's in the private chat. Somebody else throw it in the main thing, because I don't know what am I supposed to do on my mouse to literally I highlight it, and then I'm like, okay, how do I just right click that? But it won't let me right click it. I just go straight to the link. Here I am running my own podcast, and I don't even know how to.
You know, aren't we gonna upload the whole thing on YouTube later on?
Yeah,
Why
it's going to
don't
be
we
all up
just-
on YouTube later.
Why don't we just chuck?
Oh, now it worked.
Oh, okay,
the
perfect.
URL?
It's posted.
You got
Yeah.
it in there,
Here's
and I can
that.
actually here. I can also. So now that you've done that, wait.
Yeah.
Boom. So now I can show that to everybody too if they're not in the chat. So now
Okay. Yeah.
that's the place to go for anybody who isn't with us live and you're watching this later. Right there.
So yeah, what we did there, it was
Oh wait, real quick, we got Casey Howard in the mix. This is my resident homie who does this show with me every week. Casey, this is Daniel, Celine, Norbert, and Florian. I need to actually. Can we put their names up? I didn't know how to do that.
Don't worry, I'm here. I got you.
Oh yeah, he's here to save the day, guys.
It's under style, Anthony. Here, actually, I think you should learn. I think this is a good learning
Yeah.
tool.
Okay, so let me go to
Click
style.
style and then scroll down a little bit there, and you'll see show display names. You're going to toggle that bad boy on.
I
And,
am, dude. And boom, look at this. We all have everybody's name.
But
An hour and 10 minutes into the show.
what's going on, everybody? Super nice to
All
meet
right.
all of you. I've been listening the whole time. I was kind of in the background texting Anthony because I wanted to, let the birdie fly and like let him do his first.
I know.
We call him admin Anthony is the new, because he.
Yeah, he did well.
recently
He
got
did well.
promoted. Yeah.
I've literally been the guy to just show up and then just sit and wait for all these guys to do their thing, and then I go, "Hey, what's going on, everybody?" And then I just start yapping, Well, now it's like I want to get involved in this. So I'm using this as practice too, and I think I did okay. So far.
Yeah, dude. No, it's been cool. And so
Training wheels are off, Reef.
I was listening to your music earlier. I've heard it before, but I was like kind of listening to all the different stuff. At least there's 3 on the Apple Music I got. But yeah,
Yeah,
super
Voyage
good
you
stuff.
can't get it on streaming.
Oh, okay,
You got to own it or go to YouTube,
gotcha.
which I own it. I'm a physical media guy, and I bought that from Streetlight in Santa Cruz, where I used to go down and hang out with Casey and jam with him in our band.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Cool. Well, let's keep this train rolling.
no doubt, dude. We were just talking about Daniel's involvement in the album and how he which type of flute was it that you said you were playing?
Japanese thing.
Well,
Yeah, what was
in the end of that last song on the album, I was playing an alto flute.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
What key
So-
does that read in? Is that like do you read in a different key, or is it C, or is it like E flat or something? Or
Whoa, okay, a pro question. It's in G actually.
interesting. Yeah.
It's just in G.
That's another thing you've missed from the episodes is not having my guys who can come with the music theory and all that kind of shit too. When I get into one of those realms where they start talking music, these guys just jump in for me, and I'm like, all right. I know Odious tunes to C sharp, right? No.
Yeah. I mean,
D
E flat.
flat. See, I don't even know.
Same. Everyone says C sharp. I mean,
So
C
talking
sharp.
about being awesome and professional, I'd like to give some appreciation to Celine here because with Ontology of North, there is one song, I think it's The Barren Earth as well. And if you remember that there is like an improvised 12-tone piece opening up the track, right?
Mhm.
And just imagine for a second, I mean, probably you guys are, kind of knowledgeable and experienced when it comes to working in the studio. It's all kind of tense and, everyone's nervous and at least, in my experience, and you're very focused and stuff like that. And so we had the track was done. There was no piano piece. And we gave it to Celine and she analyzed it really quickly. And she had I think we told her, hey, we only have 35 seconds or something. So she had to, maybe Norbert, you can talk to this, but we only had a very specific time frame, let's say 35 seconds, before the song actually started. So we didn't record the piano, cut it out, and kind of glued it to the beginning of the song, but she had to play, and it had to be spot on, and then the song began. And she was playing, and somehow she organized her brain so that it fit perfectly, and then the music started with the blast beat, right? So it's amazing what she does. And maybe a second anecdote here. Whenever Norbert and I record something, we factor in extra time, like, hey, this I will fuck up, this and that kind of thing, and this won't work, and there will be technical issues. And I was stressing Celine out about this. So yeah, probably we need more than just 2 hours. And she had to squeeze in the appointment because of, I don't know, looking after the children or something like that, cleaning the house. And she said, no, Florian, I need 2 hours exactly. Wow. So we went to her place, everything first take, every fucking thing first take, no mistakes, we're gone after 2 hours. Amazing. Wow. And I'm very, very honored to work with such wonderful.
Now I'm gonna go revisit it again and listen to it with that information, knowing that it was a one-take situation, and I'm gonna get so much more out of that section of the album, dude. I love that. It's really, really, really cool, and especially being a mother. Yeah, how many kids do you have, Celine?
2.
2. What, if you don't mind, what are their ages?
They are 8 and 11.
Yeah. So right there with me, 13, 9, and 7 for me. So it's very, very hard to.
What it is. So yeah.
Yes, exactly. And for you to still be able to give time to your craft with all that.
It's difficult. I'm so tired all the time,
Yeah, I understand.
I have to wake up at 6:30, then take the children to school. Then I have some rehearsals, and I practice in the morning on many things to do. Then sometimes I teach the whole afternoon, and then if I'm lucky, I have a gig in the evening. So where all the musicians who don't have children, are coming very rested and everything, relaxed to the gig. Then I come, on my legs since 6:30 and have to play the gig.
And then go to bed and wake up at 6:30 and do it all over again.
Yeah, so no, wake up at 6:30, and after a concert, I would not be obliged. My husband would make it.
Oh, that's a good man right there. He knows you need your rest after that.
Yes, but I wake up anyway because the children are coming to me, so it's.
Yeah, totally, dude. Well, that's really, really. So, talk about what was your. I want to know your being brought into this extreme, metal project. Before Florian, did you know anything about or were you a fan of any type of metal music or anything?
Yes, I mean my yes, I could say so. So by that time, my husband was listening to much black metal all the time, So it's a bit different, but I was used to hearing that kind of music at home. Of course, death metal is a bit different, but I mean, as Florian told me about working with him, so I thought, okay, I can do it because I mean we hear a lot of metal at home, but not really death metal and everything. I mean black metal and also things like Black Sabbath on such bands, So I thought, okay, it's so complicated music, so my free jazz will fit on it. There won't be any problem. Yeah. So I was not very worried about that from the beginning. So I think Florian was more worried, but I was not. So I thought, okay, I tried to think about it. I thought, okay, so with the extended techniques and everything, I play inside the piano and everything. So I can concept something improvised on that music. So I listened to the first album. I listened to the tracks many times and said, okay, yes, I see what I could play, and then we recorded. And for the second album, I listened to the tracks, but not so many times, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I listened to them. I also had a good feeling. It's okay, it will work. So I wasn't really worried. It's not that far away from free jazz. I mean,
Yeah.
also the energy, the complicated rhythms, the sound. I felt like a connection between both. So yes, it was not so amazing to be involved in such a project, in the sense
Right.
of I was not so amazed that he could ask me that, and I could figure out to be part of it. It was not a big deal for me.
That's super cool. I mean, to be a chameleon in music has got to be so cool, dude. I wish I could do anything else besides just, you know, that's all I really fucking do, you know.
We all know you can play guitar too. So
Oh yeah, dude. I can play the beginning of "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. You know,
pretty sick, dude.
but yeah, I love and same thing with you, Daniel. I love hearing about musicians that may not have started in metal but came across it somehow and understand that it isn't just noise. Obviously, we've talked about it so many times. You kind of need to be getting these downloads in specific time stamps throughout your life in order to really like understand why we love technical death metal. You can't just like dive right in. I mean, yes, there is still people that just dive right in and get it, you know, but to be a classical musician, but be so into music and understand music enough to where it's still, you get to this realm and you give it just as much respect. You don't just look at it as, you know, abrasive noise that, you know, cavemen are trying to make. You know, that's how most people look at our genre of music outside of it, you know. But then you get into it and it's no different than you were saying free jazz, or you could take the distortion off of most guitar players in metal and it's classical influenced, you know. It really is it's hidden by the abrasiveness that keeps people away from it. But then you get below the layer and you find out that somebody like Celine can be like, "Oh yeah, you got this. I'm totally in. 2 hours, one take. Let's go."
Yeah. I can relate to what you said, right? So for instance, I'm very much into Richard Wagner. And I mean, it's a no-brainer that there is parallels emotionally. I mean, the sheer beauty and versatility and brutality and harshness and melancholy and all these things, right? Kind of the emotional palette, let's call it that. And there is maybe, you know, Daniel can talk about this from a more technical vantage point, but to me there have always been, you know, clear parallels. And for instance, to me, Prokofiev has always been a large inspiration when it comes to chord progression and chords specifically. And whether that's, you know, legitimate to do, I don't care personally, but if something touches me emotionally and I find this interesting technically, I kind of translate the whole thing into the music, and that's basically always the same mechanism. So I think there are these parallels, and certainly, well, Death and the Maiden, Schubert, for some reason, always been impressive to me. Or, you know, I always cared about this piece in particular, quartets, and translating this I don't know, tension and atmosphere into the music, not for pretense, not to say, hey, I do this because I can do it. I don't care about these things, but simply because there is this emotion that almost urges you to do so. That's something I do quite frequently. And but I'd like to give some appreciation to Norbert here, because Norbert and I were listening to Ontology earlier today at my place, and we realized how complex this shit actually is. And Norbert is the guy who orchestrates, manages, orders all the chaos, and has been desperate to do so over the past 4 years, and it's amazing what he's done as an engineer also, and a guitarist.
Dude, most definitely, dude. Because I when I truly want to dive into something, it's got to be in ears or good speakers, and so I just this week revisiting it, I had to just listen to it in my head, and it was very pleasant. It's like with an album like this, there could be times where things get too intense for your ears, even if you're wanting to accept it. And I think that the way that this album, it comes at you in waves, and when those abrasive waves happen, it's not as it's still pleasant to the ears. That's what I don't know how else to describe that, but the way that the album was produced, I think that was in the mix. You have something like this record, you want it to be, because obviously, who listens to full albums anymore? I love to listen to an album front to back. I actually, if I'm going to have a first listen of a record, I have to make sure that I have the window of time to listen to the whole thing. And so, and with a project like this, and the duration of time that it takes to get through the album, it is a journey, and you're in it for the long haul. So if you're wanting to stick it out, you want your ears to also want to stick it out. So that's what I wanted to compliment Norbert for, keeping my ears welcoming all of the information that was coming to me over how long is the album? An hour and what's the running time completely?
75 minutes.
Yeah, almost hour. Almost
Not one.
Hour and 20. It's
1
crazy,
minute
dude.
more, and it wouldn't fit on the CD.
Do you guys have a vinyl for it? Is there like multiple vinyls that have to be like at least two?
That's I think it's two sides, 4 sides, two vinyls.
4 sides, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I was curious.
Yeah, this album was it was a challenge, because we tried to push it further, to make it more claustrophobic sounding, more layers, and it took us to our boundaries. I don't know if I can say that in English, and it's in the end we listened too much to it. There was no listening distance to the whole album, and sometimes we have some mixed feelings with the way we mixed it and let it sound. But that's if you try to if you try to get over new borders, what is possible, what is achievable to sound maximum weird and obscure. You have to learn and make mistakes and get frustrated and but also have many moments where we sat back and said, yeah, fantastic. Never thought of it. The song number 4 on this album, it was just it was meant as an intro song.
Yeah. And
with the time it evolved to a big new song with Ava in the vocals, and which I never thought would be possible, that this song would crystallize out out of the process.
Yeah, it's almost one of my favorite songs. It's the song exclusively done with female vocals, That's Ava Bonham. She's a fantastic.
I was going to say that, dude. She is such a beautiful voice.
Amazing person. Very, very, very profound character. Very smart. But I don't know. It's difficult to talk about people, right? But we sang together, and she would vocal coach me in parallel because I didn't hit the notes properly, and that was amazing already. And I don't know, just standing next to her while she sang the lyrics I wrote before was almost otherworldly. If you know, I mean, it sounds a little cliche, I suppose, but just standing there and listening to her, and then doing the second, the harmonics and the second voice and the third one.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, I mean, she's got a black metal background and a folk music background, classically trained, etc. But first of all, this black metal background, I think, enables her to relate to the music without it sounding like theater of tragedy or stuff like that, which is all cheesy. I don't want to talk bad about other bands, but that's something I cannot relate to. But I think the seriousness and the feeling transported by, I don't know, Dimmu Borgir, I don't know, Old Sentence, Ulver, Taurus, but bands like this, the old school second wave black metal stuff. She's got this feeling instilled inside of her, and she transports, conveys that. And I Bergtat by Ulver, stuff like that. She Burzum, even though they're politically idiots, but you know what I mean, right? This right. Feeling, and that's something. Wow. It doesn't sound cliche. It doesn't sound predictable. It doesn't sound like, oh wow, another metal band. And now comes the evil grunter, and then the beauty, but kind of bullshit. No, we didn't. We wanted this to sound serious, harmoniously integrated into the sound, and I think she did an amazing job.
I think that there's also a seamlessness to the album too, that. Because you were just talking about, here's the grunter, and then we're gonna have the female vocal. It's just like sectioned off little things, but no, the way that this flows, that it's very seamless, and all of a sudden you're just in a new space, and you have this female vocalist who's, like I said, beautiful voice, and yes, I love how you. As a fan of multiple styles of music, I like to have it in one package. But I give Mr. Bungle a lot of credit for starting that off to me. But they do, and they are more seamless than most. But they still have I like to just say genre hopping. It's not, people lump that into avant-garde but it's really just genre hopping. But if you have a seamlessness to it, then I'm more ready to go down to see how much are you going to make this seamless. How am I going to? I'm looking for you to put me in a place before I even realize I'm there. With the genre hopping, like I walk through this door, and then I walk through that door, and I walk through. But with this seamlessness that I'm talking about, you're in a dark room, then all of a sudden you're walking down a pathway in a dark forest, or and you didn't realize how you got there. It's like that's kind of like a shitty way of describing it, but you understand what I'm saying. It's just like that, and maybe like it's a dream almost. It's a dream. It's in dreams. It's the same thing. The scenes don't start and stop promptly. All of a sudden, the scenes, you're somewhere else, and you're someone else, and And I get that totally. And you and me speaking, I put the Lynch stuff out because I do get this Lynchian vibe of listening to you guys. So
yeah. And totally, and that's why I sort of liken it to going for a walk.
Yeah, going
And
for a
you've got
walk, dude.
beautiful, I don't know, clearings and perspectives, and maybe I take the left path or the other one, right? So you go for a walk, and it's all interesting.
Mhm.
And talking about seamlessness, I mean, we all love Cynic, don't we?
It's my favorite band. It's
We
my
all
favorite
love
band.
Cynic, and I mean, Focus. There you go. Focus has been, I don't know, like one of the biggest inspirations in my musical career, if I can call it that.
I love that.
And it's I don't know, they could have stopped. They shouldn't have, but they could have stopped only doing this album. And at the very beginning of their career, it looked like it, right? And then
Yeah.
we started the band. But this is, I think, Paul Masvidal, and I never met the guy, but sometimes you have this feeling, if you ran into this individual, probably you guys know the guy, probably he's a likable, interesting, I watch videos and interviews he's been doing.
Mhm.
And this is about, he's a Buddhist, right? If I recall correctly, or very
I don't
spiritual.
remember if he's actually calls himself a Buddhist. He may definitely take a lot from that realm, but I might be wrong.
No.
I can't. I mean, we talked to him for 4+ hours on his episode, and I
Yeah.
can't remember if he said if he was
And I
Buddhist specifically.
certainly don't want to put him into some sort of spiritual.
But he may
category.
totally be. Either way, he
Probably.
definitely aligns with a lot of that for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of Eastern philosophy.
And so when he meditates, and he does meditate, he will have some, let's say, breathing techniques, and it will be about flowing. And if you listen to Focus, it is like a flow, right? There is water samples, the ocean. They even took pictures of them standing in the sea, right? By the beach and stuff like that. And that's emotional stuff translated into something technical, which is music. And that's why we don't sit down like we want to sound flowing. We just flow because we are like people. That's it. Yeah.
That's totally, dude. Side note: the Reef just mentioned the Cynic's new guitarist is so sick. I don't know if you even know this, Florian, but their newer guitar player Mike Gilbert. He is my guitar player in Severed. Yeah. Okay, so all right, sick, dude. I was just giving a little reference to that if nobody knew what Reef was talking about. Yeah, dude. No, we love Cynic and we love Paul. Paul is exactly what you just said. Paul is Casey and I both have. Casey has plenty of physical kick-its with him. I've only had a handful, but he is that guy. He's exactly that guy. He's 100% Paul Masvidal. And
he's clearly a genius, but like he's like the most down to earth nice guy ever. But like the cool thing about him is he's very interested in you. Like he is very like he wants to know what you're into, and like he's just really cool and but very like aware, like just very intelligent, like and super creative and just obviously. So
that's what I was gonna say. He's in tune with you. He really is. Like when you're talking to him, he's genuinely paying attention to you. And you don't always get that in a conversation when
Right.
So he's a great, wonderful person, and he's made the most. I mean, most perfect 8 songs on an album. Him and the Shawns, dude, and fucking Jason. They all just forever. That album will be just ingrained in me.
I love this topic though about making something that's like difficult or like multifaceted in so many ways, like flow. That's hard to do, or having so many different colors or different sounds and stuff in like a project or a recording, and making it flow to where it actually works. Like we were originally talking about with your music. That's cool to like reference your influences and stuff like that with Cynic and things. And are there other, like, besides the classical stuff, like just in terms of metal and progressive stuff, and what are some of your other influences like with this stuff? I almost heard like some Gorguts influence, but I don't know if that's like directly.
Maybe I can kick things off and then pass it on to my friends here. To me, Vetwens Ende, that's a 1990s black metal avant-garde kind of band.
Which band? Sorry.
Vetwens Ende.
Oh yeah, dude. You know what's so funny, dude, is I was gonna bring them up, dude. I definitely I can easily hear your influence.
So they have always been very, very central to me. Uva, like 1990s black metal. I have, I think, a very, very strong influence, even though, I mean, some people realize it. It's totally there for me personally, is My Dying Bride. That's I'm a big Turners, the Swans, As the Flower Withers, the first album, so that they are very, very important to me, and that's probably also an inspiration, even though I didn't try to emulate it. But I think they gave me the feeling like it's okay to write music that is extensive. So My Dying Bride, Anathema from the UK, like many peaceful albums and bands, Cynic, Death. I mean, obviously, Death. I mean, Paul played in Human. It's a milestone, and loads of black metal. When I talk about metal, loads of 1990s second wave of black metal stuff. So
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
So like you like I never remember how to pronounce the name, but Dod Himsgard.
Yeah, my wife speaks Norwegian, and she corrected my pronunciation is Du Heimskår.
Wow, I'll never be able to do it, dude.
Give it a shot.
But that was actually another one of those bands that came out of that. Well, I also with like Ulver and them, I kind of call them like the second wave of the second wave. Mm-hmm. They're like the second wave happened, and then all this other, because if you really think of black metal is totally just trying to be outside of everything else when it was started, right? So then that starts to get plagiarized immediately. And so then that totally takes the unique aspect of black metal out of there. But then there's the bands that were involved in it that decided, no, we're going to make it even more weird, you know? Yeah. Ulver was a lot more traditional, but then they just said, fuck this. We're going
Perdition City. Yeah. Perdition City is amazing.
Beautiful. Album. Love that. Perfect example of why, and I bet you at that time too, they didn't necessarily want to abandon it, but they had to, because it got, as soon as it was, taken and then copied, it lost all of its original energy, which was something that was just this new genre of music bubbling up in Norway, Yeah. And so the second wave, like Ulver's, I mean, Shadows of the Sun is an album that will bring me to tears every time I listen to it.
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
And same thing with say it one more time. How does your wife correct you with Dod Himsgard?
Probably I fuck it up again, but so if she listens to this podcast, probably Florian, you mispronounce it again. If I recall correctly, Du Heimskår. That's
Du Heimskår.
I mean,
Du Heimskår. I actually think I did pretty good right there.
Yeah, sounds good. Must be your Viking ancestors.
Totally. But, that's totally cool, and it totally makes sense that that's a big influence in you, because like I like a lot of different black metal. I hear some hints of stuff here and there, and Ved Buenos Ende is one of the bands that I was going to try and remember, but then you got to it to me first, so it's all good.
I saw them a year ago in Leipzig, and remember the Leipzig, the Mayhem Leipzig live recording from the, I don't know, when did they do it? End of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. So anyhow, in Leipzig they played Ved Buenos Ende with Michael, the founder of the band, who did Virus as well, and big Virus fan.
Love Virus.
He's not in a wheelchair, but I think he tried to commit suicide and jumped out of the second or third window, and he didn't die, and he survived, luckily. And he was basically kind of leaning against the stool because he cannot walk properly anymore.
Mhm.
And this was kind of adding the weirdness and the drama and the melancholy as well. I mean, this guy tried to commit suicide, didn't work out. Now he's on stage. I am the lucky one witnessing these beautiful, beautiful songs from Writing in Water, Written in Water,
Written Water, yeah.
big, beautiful album. And him just sitting there on this stool because he cannot stand erect, and the way he sang is so moving and so dark and so twisted and so strange, and it's amazing.
We've recently talked about a unique vocalist. I probably even on the last episode 2 days ago, and he is definitely in the handful of guys that stand out to me as nobody is like this guy, you know? I mean, the way he plays drums too. Nobody plays drums like him either. His right hand is something that it's phenomenal, dude. It really is truly something special when you listen to that Written in Waters record, or even what is the demo before that, Those Who Will Take Us or something. And he also played drums on Ulver's demo as well. And everything that guy has touched, it has a complete signature sound to it because of that man and also the other musicians. But, you know, so any band that he touched and then he left, you could tell his absence is very prevalent post him being in the band, you know?
Absolutely. I think maybe sorry for barging in here, but Daniel has to leave in a second because he's playing a concert. So I'd like to.
You got a gig, Daniel?
Thank him for joining. Yeah, really. Sorry,
dude. Thank you, Daniel.
No, it's fine. It's actually only tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah,
you're all good.
Tomorrow I'm just the concert.
All right. So,
did you guys also want to? Yeah, I think. Celine, did you want to say while you still have a minute, like some of your influences in that, you know, and like kind of we're talking with each person? Did you have anything you wanted to add there?
What do you mean exactly?
Oh, just like musical influences to this project. Maybe it could be metal, but just anything that, like, is there anything, you know, because we're talking about all these like black metal bands and stuff like this. Is there anything that you wanted to mention as far as like influences for you?
Influences, you mean for the music of the band in general?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, anything. Or like for the band, yeah, but you know, I mean, just in general, whatever.
For where I play on the music for the music of this band. Personally, if you ask me in general for the band, I could say I'm not enough into death metal to answer the question.
Totally.
Well, I mean, so then if you took from elsewhere, what, like, do you feel like you channeled
from elsewhere?
Yeah.
It's a very difficult question.
Then you could even say yourself, I found it within myself. You could totally be influenced by your own self.
But maybe
your question is about what is your question about what I played?
Yeah.
He's talking about your performance specifically, and did you?
About my performance, I can talk, of course. I would say so. I have many influences. Originally I'm a classical pianist, so I played all the classical stuff, and also new music. So I'm in contemporary music. I have many influences from 12-tone music. I mean, Schoenberg, for instance.
Oh, okay. Really cool.
Berg. Also from some composers like Bartók. Or also Shostakovich, Prokofiev, Stravinsky. I mean, if the things now it's difficult because I'm also jazz pianist, so it's my music is really a mix on many things, of many things, it's a mix of contemporary music with some parts of the jazz language, with free improv and extended techniques also on inside the piano on the strings, which are of course taken influenced by the contemporary music. It's a big mix, and the thing is, I think I also use much energy to play compared to some other pianists.
Right.
I'm not sure it's really very obvious in that album. I don't play that energetical, but I think it's a mix of this, and also of course part of the music is coming from inside of me,
Right.
and actually I was playing quite differently, and once I was sat in the kitchen with my husband, and I was talking about many things, about political things and many things. I was really quite angry, and he told me, why don't you use this in your music?
Yeah.
Well, you have it inside. Why don't you do anything with it? I mean, play something, you do something. And I thought, okay, so maybe you're right. Maybe I should do it. And then it's a mix of all those emotions, and all this musical background, and everything is like melting pot now. So it's difficult to take things from each other.
Yeah.
And yes, could say
Well,
that.
I love that answer, man, because
Yeah.
it really is. It's totally true and kudos to your husband for saying, hey, you got this, you need to channel that into that, and it makes sense, and it becomes a therapy for you, and
for him it's better because he has to listen to less of his anger at home. I think.
Yeah, he's just trying to get you off his back, but really it sparks something in you. You're like, oh, I got to use this.
Yes, that's right.
That's hilarious. Well, that's so cool. I love that. You guys totally all represent exactly what I think you guys would be as musicians when I listen to this album. To be able to sit down with you guys and talk, even though it was chaotic in the beginning, getting everything, it doesn't matter. I'm glad that we really had this conversation. We are coming up on 2 hours. I have the rest of the day to do. I'm sure you guys are getting into your evenings as well. It's probably almost 10 o'clock for you or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just wrap it up real quick with just a little bit more about the album and just talking about. I know it could probably open up a big can of worms when I say this, Florian, but the lyrical content. I think that that is also something that needs to be paid attention to as well. And I also think that your approach and the poetic aspects of, even, and the song names are so long, but there was one that really don't tell me it because I'm going to pull it up right now. I want to read it in full. It's just your tomorrow will the blossom of your tomorrow will unfold in my heart. I thought that was such a fucking killer song name, dude. The blossom, and it's actually got a very positive ring to it. The blossom of your tomorrow will unfold in my heart. I think that's for a band that sounds the way that it does, to have maybe some messages of love and positivity. It's like,
oh yeah.
I love that, dude. I think that's a fresh. Maybe I try and have a lot of positive aspects to my lyrics as well too. But I just think that taking the approach of what is seen on the surface of this group, and then you get within that core of it, and you understand the layers that are happening. To have a poetic message in the album as well that is potent. I think that a lot of people don't pay attention to lyrics as much as they should, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I mean, it's not a clear plan for the next album, but I think it's my feeling, at least, that I want to expand on the female vocals with Ava, because the lyrics have always been very, very important to me personally. I mean, I also realized that I think hardly ever people pay attention to it, right?
Right.
I can't tell. Sometimes I get messages. Someone sends me an email, says, you know, I read this piece and gave me a good feeling, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much. As a matter of fact, with Vision Waters and Symphonies of Light, there were a couple of people, you know, who went through rather gloomy times personally, and they reached out to me and said, you know, I listened to this whilst going for a walk through the snow, and it gave me something uplifting, right, emotionally. And that's something, you know, I personally care about. I mean, I don't know about you folks, but I always felt kind of torn inside, you know, when thinking about the tag of the genre, where, you know, in which we play music, death metal. I remember Chuck Sheldon, right, saying, you know, it needs to be the most extreme label, so it needs to be death, right? And that's why I call my band Death. And in a way, I can relate to this emotionally. On the other hand, we are all, I'd be bold to say, more than that.
Yes.
Just venerating and praising death, and whatever, and being destructive, self-destructive. I am not, you know, I am, and I read Algernon Blackwood, right? He's one of my big unsung heroes.
Oh, yeah.
And Melville and Poe and you know, all these, the William Faulkner as a late dying and stuff like that. So I could always relate to that, but also, I don't know, when you read Milton, for instance, right? It's an epic, for sure, but there is also moments of hope and beauty and awe, and that's something I always, you know, could relate to and always wanted to bring across. And talking about this particular song you mentioned, "The Blossoms of Your Tomorrow Shall Unfold in My Heart," I was talking to Chris, and we haven't talked about Chris so far. He's our bassist, and he's one of the he's this wonderful human being. First of all, he's from Greece, and he couldn't join us, unfortunately, because he's playing a concert tonight. But I don't know whether you listen to his bass playing, but he's amazing. He's an amazing musician. And he asked me, you know, kind of almost, you know, apologetically, Lauren, is it okay if I do this kind of beautiful major progression in the song? It's like, yeah, of course you can, right? Nice and beautifully with. Yes, we sing about destruction and dissolving and death and illumination and, you know, all this stuff. But on the other hand, you know, also very subtle, beautiful moments when you walk through nature and you see, I don't know, a tree and just the crown of the tree, and you ponder its beauty. And these are emotions we always tried to convey through the music, and that's why I told Chris, of course, you know, do anything you want to do. I don't want to have, you know, the typical chord progressions or bass playing, you know, a death metal bassist would typically play, even though I love it, but I want it to be more, not because it's better, but because it represents my feeling as a human being, right? The richness. And that's basically why I don't find it surprising that sometimes it happens that the titles sound uplifting and beautiful, because that's what we tap into as well.
I love that, dude. I think that's you've just kind of opened up, death metal. It's very tunnel vision, and the full spectrum of life isn't in there. And of course, it's called death metal, so why would they talk about life? But
Yeah.
it is.
But then Cynic did.
But it is being created.
Yeah.
In a life, whoever's creating it. And so what aspects of their life are they choosing to keep out of this one thing? You're saying, why talk about this, all the death and destruction and shit? It's real, it's there, I understand it, but there's also this over here that I mean, if it was all real, just death and destruction, we might just jump off a second story building, But what keeps us here is all this over here, walking down a beautiful path and having a relationship with a tree, understanding the infinity of a tree blowing through the wind and how the leaves in that tree will never bend the same way after you walk away. Those types of things. I have those moments in life too. And to be able to translate that into music or lyrics and stuff is always like my goal, so I just want to say I praise it because I understand it. It's something that I'm going for. You guys did it, and yes, everybody should be listening to this new Ingurgitating Oblivion record.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my buddy Josh, he's a big he used to show us music back in the day forever, and he saw the flyer that you guys were going to be on, and he's just like, I love that fucking band. He like sent me a message. He's like, I love all their music, but like
me and Josh used to trip on the Voyage record. I bought that at Streetlight and listened to it at the house, at the original Thunderdome house where we used to jam with Odious, and we were just like, dude, this is so fucking cool. And Unmatched Brutality probably is the reason why it's not on streaming, right?
No, well, I don't know. I at some point they disappeared. They were there. Was it beginning of the 2000s? I don't recall.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
It would have been like 05, 06, something like that when I would have gotten a hold of it, because that's when we were hanging out at that house.
Yeah, I mean, at some point I need to reach out to the guys. Was it Jamie something? It's such a long time ago, but they should, I think.
I think that, I mean, even though because I didn't know. Also, I thought that maybe it wasn't on stream, because sometimes bands don't want their previous stuff. Like there's bands that say, oh no, this chunk of our catalog is actually what we really want people to get access to. They could totally do that. Yeah. So I thought, I didn't know if it was like something like that, or most likely it's just a record label and licensing and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube, yes. And I as any death metal fan, that is definitely one that if you have not come across it, you definitely need to listen to it, because it is quality. And then to watch the band unfold after that, it's so
maybe
it's very, very...
One final message. It's not cast in stone. It's not like a concrete plan, but at some point, Norbert will hate me for this, but at some point we'd like to perform live again, and I personally I totally love that. I totally love to play in Canada, unless it becomes the 51st state of the United States, but there you go. But Canada and the States, and I mean, wow, that'd be amazing, and I'd love that. And Norbert and I have been going on about this for a long time. It would need a lot of, let's say, logistics and organization, especially with Lily, because he's amazing and he's so busy, right? I don't know, meeting people. I mean, that to me personally, community, like meeting people you never met before, but you share something, you have something in common, and you can talk about this like we do. We never met before, but it feels good, right? It feels natural.
Yeah, no, I had a great time today.
And presenting the whole thing, and Maybe
Lele did a playthrough of the whole album, if I'm not mistaken, right? There was a video of him.
Just one song.
one song.
Oh, just one song. Sorry.
Yeah, it felt like a whole album because the songs are that long.
He could have done it. He's crazy enough.
He is crazy enough, dude.
Yeah, Lille is.
Yeah,
No
he's
problem.
a beast, dude. And I love that he was a part of it. It actually, like, you know, made me pay attention to you guys again, if I'm going to be honest, because like life happens, dude, and you know, listening to music and getting in on new albums, dropping it, it's hard to do it nowadays, especially like Celine knows, with kids and the family and all that stuff, just compartmentalizing your time and talking about listening to albums. So this Lille thing made me start to pay attention, and then when it dropped, I was just like, fuck, where have I been? You know, you know, just like it's few and far between for albums to get you on a certain level, you know, and this one did it for me, dude. And I just want to say kudos and bravo, and I want everybody to hear this. Anybody who wants to experience experimental but beautiful extreme metal, this is an album to go for.
Yeah. And kudos to you guys hanging out with us, sacrificing your time over the weekend. I love the Cali Death podcast. I mean, I've been, you know, annoying you for a long time. Like, let's do this now.
No, I wasn't annoyed, dude. I wanted to make it happen, dude. I was the one. I mean, I reached out to you first. You know, if you really go back, I was the one I was wanting the episode first. So, there was trials and tribulations and time scheduling things, but we finally made it happen. I'm so happy about it. And Florian, you're a great dude. Celine, you're awesome. Norbert, you're awesome too. Daniel, you're great. And a lot of people have some interest in your and Lille's project too. So we're going to start pushing that one as well. And
check out Celine's work. That's amazing.
Yes, most definitely. Celine, would you like to, is it specific? Actually, let's do a round of like specific plugs, because you guys are all, you know, doing your own thing. We said plugs for Ingurgitating in the beginning, but I won't now that because you guys weren't really on there at the time while we were doing the plugs. Anybody who does lessons or anything like that, you guys plug all that stuff away. I want everybody to get a hold of it. So let's go around the horn. We'll start ladies first. Celine, where on the internet do you want people to find your stuff? And is there, you know, a few projects or anything that you would want people to get a hold of?
Shall I write it in the chat?
Or you can do that, or people who cannot be in the chat and they're listening to this later, they want you to just rattle it off.
So best thing is you check my website, or you check my Bandcamp website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I posted it in the chat, but I don't know how to.
Oh, you're in the private chat. Okay, so it's
So I have my last albums on it, and you can listen to them too and buy them if you like.
How do I get that link out of the private chat, Casey? I was trying to do that earlier. I don't even know how to use my fucking mouse.
Oh, already working on it, dude.
The one that I just freshly put batteries in. there we go. All right.
Yes. Thanks.
Boom.
Exactly.
That's where you can find Celine.
So it's Celine Voccia.
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 It's Italian name. And I'm French.
Okay. I'm Sicilian and Irish. But I like to claim the Sicilian side better. And then
Daniel.
Norbert. Or Daniel, you go for it. Daniel, where you want people to go for your stuff? Oh, he's muted right now.
I got it.
There.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
There, I'm back. So if people want to check out my stuff, I have a nice website. It will be in the chat very soon. And also there's a YouTube channel. I'll post that first. The website is daniel-agi.de. Oh, it couldn't be posted. That's funny. So, but there is a website, and I'll try and post it again later. That's where you can check out my stuff. And if anybody feels inclined to have flute lessons, I do teach online.
Nice.
Just give me a shout. I mean, my contact is on my website, which I'll.
You can post it in again. Private chat. If you put it in the private chat, I think I might be able to make it work.
That's strange. Somehow it doesn't work. Yeah, I'll post it here.
Yeah, I'll figure out why.
It just popped up.
See if it'll let me.
Is it because it's .de or something?
Nope, it's just maybe because we're at. So I don't know.
No, it worked out. Yeah. So that's the two. Yeah. If anybody feels like it, just check it out. There's some cool
DANIEL-AGI.de.
Yeah,
that's it.
Correct.
Perfect. All right, Norbert. Now, as an engineer, I'm sure you're looking for.
No, you can everything you want to know about me. You can go to the Ingurgitating Oblivion website, and if you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on Facebook, or you can you can just write Ingurgitating Oblivion. I will respond.
Killer. Thank you so much, Norbert. All right, guys. Well, Florian, it was really, really awesome, dude. I'm glad we finally did this.
Likewise. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us.
No doubt, dude. And I want everybody else to come back next time. We'll be here in a couple of weeks, and have a great rest of your weekend. And oh wait, we got to do our plugs real quick. Let's do. Let me see if I can do it. Wait, no, I got to end it. You're making me start to lean back into laziness again, Casey.
And let me say one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Say thank you to you two, to all my friends here in Ingurgitating Oblivion. I mean, you know that I love you, and it's amazing working with you. And of course, to humble audience, I saw a couple of comments. I really appreciate the support and the love that you can kind of relate to funny, strange music that we produce. So thanks to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Hell yeah, dude. No, you deserve it, dude. I've watched it over the years. I've said it many a times on this show. It's it's all. The passion's always been there throughout this whole career of this band. I've watched it evolve into what it is, and I just think it's so great, dude. So this is definitely an album that everybody needs to listen to. All right, guys. Well, let's throw up some battleforgecoffee.com one more time. Get your coffee over there. It's death metal. It's California. It's good shit. Who got wait, I never say their thing. They have a motto. It's like never go into battle without something. I can't remember. Sorry, guys. I'll remember it next time. GeneratorRehearsalStudios.com, Oceanside, California. Ben, we love you, brother. Casey, you're over there all the time. Get your jam on over there. And then, yeah, dude, we will see you guys next time. Thanks again so much for all you and giving us your time. And you all are great. And I'm going to be listening to the album again on the way to work on Monday.
All right. Bye, folks. Cheers.
Rock on, guys.
Bye.
Hey,
Cheers.
Bye.
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.